Hello. Hi there. This is Al, and right now it is, well, for me anyway, Christmas. Merry Christmas to all. Have a candy. um, if you're unaware, Christmas is a religious rite performed by a sect called Christians, a religious sect, quite large actually. Christmas. And it happens every year around this time of year, December 25, yeah, that's today. And basically, people sing catchy tunes and buy a lot of junk they don't need. And, no, I'm going to ask for money. I would love to give a donation, but I can't, I don't know where to give any donations. I have money. Christmas. Now, see, if I were a member of this sect, I would probably consider very seriously making a donation, finding some way of making a donation, because that's what we're supposed to do at this time of year. Give. And, of course, receive. But it all works out about even, because everybody's giving, and they have to be giving to someone, so for every giver there's a receiver, and so the sum total is 0. Actually, it's a bit of a negative total, because people feel that they have to give gifts, and typically the gifts will be things that people didn't want in the first place. Now this goes all the way back to the 19th century here, this religion, maybe further. Birth. Let's see now, when was that? 15th century. No, that can't be right. That old? Oh yes, and then there's the famous Christmas tree, which is a thing made out of plastic. It resembles a pine tree, and is to be decorated with shiny things and light bulbs. And the gifts I was mentioning before would be placed underneath the tree to await their opening on the morning of Christmas Day. So if I was a Christian, I would right now be opening my gifts. Oh yes. Now here's the main guy, Santa Claus, or Saint Nicholas, who where did Sinterklaas sounds German. Why do we know Christianity is German? Okay. Saint Nicholas. Dutch. Oh, Dutch. Okay, sorry. So Christianity was invented by the Saint Nicholas guy, I guess, who was a Dutchman, and he had a long beard, and he handed out the gifts, and started that tradition going. So it's quite interesting. Anyway, that's not what I want to show you. Well, first I've been working on this editor thing, and there are several topics that have come up, not the least of which is my continuing avoidance of and putting off of getting these things done. But they have been getting done slowly and surely. And I've been, aside from that, I've been making things like this. This here is Liz Fair, and if you probably have, you're probably if you're like most people, you would be celebrating that thing I told you about, and so you haven't been seeing your updates. But she's a singer-songwriter. I discovered some songs of hers that apparently hadn't been released, and I thought they were quite good, so I uploaded them and made a big noise about it. Sorry about that. That bothered you. You don't have to listen to the songs. Yeah, and I made several wallpapers with her. And in each case, well, at least this case and another case, I had to extend the size. Either, have black bars on the side, which I don't want, or cut off some of the image, cut a line out. And I don't want to do that either. Like there's another one. I looked on one, I couldn't find one with my aspect ratio is the standard widescreen 16:9. Yeah, that's it. 16:9, 1.77, and my screen resolution is 1366 by 768, which is also 177. I mean 1.77. That's bad. This doesn't do decimal points. So. Yeah, so here's another example. Oh, here. Okay, so now she's quite a bit older now, and I'm not even sure if this picture was generated or not by a computer. Someone's taken her general form and computer generated this. It looks computer generated. On the other hand, I did apply a smoothing algorithm to it, and that might have over smoothed. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Oh yes, and about this image. In this one, I extended the shadow here and extended this side a bit. It's okay, it's hard to tell, isn't it? Alright, so now, let's see how much time we're wasting for that. Only 9 minutes. Now, so we have this editor thing, and as I had before, I haven't added any new files, but I've changed these files. First thing I did was I wanted to change that horrible font inside the edit control, and so I've changed it to Courier New with 15, which still seems quite small. I'll just show you quickly what that looks like. See? And you'll notice that when I type, you get some notification. I cleaned up these menus, took away the things that we don't have or use. Now when I put this, this is supposed to be the height according to this. I don't have, I'll start the help coloring in a second. Height, width, you don't have to, you never, I don't know, maybe I should specify only the width. I'm curious now. Let me try that. Because I'm used to 11 being a good size. When it asks you for a font, and you choose a point size, I always thought that was the height, but maybe it's the width. That does look about right for me. That must be it. That's smaller, but it's the same one, Courier New. I haven't figured out this dialogue yet. The one that's going to come up. It's a standard dialogue. 11. What have I got set there? 11. So they're not the same exactly. This is quite a bit bigger. But it's closer. Well, maybe it's not. Let me try 11 on the other side. Swap these. You want to do both because it has its shape and it knows by the height how wide it should be. Well, see that? No, that's ridiculously small. So I don't know what that 11 stands for. I like 20 actually seems a good number for the height. No, it's too big. Doesn't seem like it seems like it goes in steps. If you've never used this create font function, as I never had, it's a horrible mess. No wait, 15 was already smaller. 16 has got to be right. That looks like the same. No, still smaller. So let me try. I don't know why I'm choosing even numbers. They didn't. But it's certainly not 22. Maybe I gotta multiply by that looks good. But it's bigger. Okay. Sorry, it's a waste of time, but it's quick. We're going to find it in a minute. I know 15 is too small, so it's 16 or 17 is the same. This looks like it. Yeah. That's the same. So 16 of these units is 11 of those other units. No, 17. Now, there's also, of course, who knows how these other arguments might affect it. Width you don't touch because that's determined by the height. Now, escapement is I think that has to do with like the overhang or something. Orientation, sure. I just chose 0 for everything. Weight means bold. That's italic. That's underline. That's strike out. Character set. I should have chose default for everything. Precision. Now that might be important. That might be why. And it says good precision. Quality too might have something to do with it. And then now see this too. Pitch and family. I'm not sure. But pitch sounds something to do with size. Okay, and now I just wasted a whole long time for no reason. This is one way to create a font. Eventually we won't even use this anymore because there's a built-in dialogue thing that does exactly what Notepad just did. Just like the file open thing does. And it prompts the user for a font. We don't have to write that code. I wrote this quickly because I wanted to get a font in there that was, in particular, something with a fixed width. For me, well, I don't want to show you anything just yet, but it is fixed width. Dusty. Okay. Now, now the first thing I wanted to do was fix up this open file dialog. Now I haven't, this is a good point to have a look at what's going on, because I haven't tucked everything away, so everything's out in the open at the moment and can be examined. So on open file, I'm calling this user open file. Now there used to be a last argument, but I dropped it. And I changed this function. First, well, this could say filter, I guess. It used to say filter, and that's what it is. See, filter, filter, filter. These filters, if you haven't used that open file dialog before, first it's a text description followed by a 0. So I have a macro here, make filter, which takes a description string. Okay, so here's the save that for text. The description is text files, so it's going to say text files, then in an open bracket, definition of text, star.text. So in brackets it'll say star.text, then a 0, then the definition again, and then a 0. So like source code is defined this way, and it's obviously it's a semicolon delimited list of file extensions, and then all files. Now one of the things I did was, it's going to be in the root, I just deleted it. Oh yeah, just there. If I change this and then open something, I guess I'll have to open something. Then the next time, now it was in the middle one, source code, so it should go back there again, and it does. And if there's only one thing But at this point, I don't have any control, but for the initial startup, if it selects a thing that has only one, like a type, then it'll put that in here, and that simplifies things. So that I open this here, you'll notice that UTF-8 works. Now I do it again. It remembers that type, and since it's only got one thing, it does start that text. That's useful because you get a nice list. But when you type a type, when you put a type in here, I never tried it, but maybe I could put all the things with semicolons and it'll list them. Who knows? Okay, now you already noticed that I opened a text file. It was a source file. See, nothing listed here. What was that? No, all the source files are in ANSI. Right, these are ANSI files. Yeah, you'll notice that it's doesn't matter what I put in here. It seems to list everything that's in this list. Now these are ANSI, and if I open them, I can read them. Fine, no problem. But if I open a file that's not ANSI, but that is UTF-8, docs, not those docs. Those are docs. Tutorials. I have it over here. No, that's not the one. There's nothing here. I seem to remember it being, oh, see, all files, okay. Well, this text. This is definitely in UTF-8 format. And it's able to, I don't get the weirdo thing, you know. Now the documentation to do with opening text files, I think it has an error, because what they say to do, they say that what I've done wouldn't make any difference, but when I don't do what I did, it makes a huge difference. I just did F1, so it's going to be a while. Not too long. Now, just look at F open here. Merry Christmas. F open. Okay, really we're supposed to look here. In fact, these are not the functions to use, but because I want to, these don't have this. Right. If you require something shareable, which is what I want, then you have to use these ones instead. And they don't work. They don't work with this error code. They work with the old, you know, F open, returning pointer to file. But anyway, if I'm compiling the thing, suppose I'm compiling, where's the F open file, load file. Okay, here's my open mode. If I specify Unicode here, but a text file, okay, and I'm compiling, and my program is in Unicode, right? Then, well, they say that this thing is ignored in help. It actually says that somewhere. You see, it'll convert from multibyte to Unicode, or from UTF-8 to Unicode, or the other. There's another format specifier, regardless of what you put in there. It says, where is this? Blah blah blah. Now this, of course, is text mode, so you don't get any line feeds. In output you do, but now where does it say that? It isn't very far from here. It's also a Microsoft thing. That's CCS. Maybe there's a note on that. Right. In fact, yes. In fact, the flag will be ignored if it conflicts with the type of the file as indicated by the byte order marker. Flag is only used when no byte order marker is present, or if it's a new file. But that's not entirely true. For UTF-8, right? It determines correctly that a file is UTF-8, but it doesn't translate it. When you open a file that's UTF-8 file, it still translates it into ANSI, right? When I just say R, just like Notepad does. Notepad has that problem, right? I think it does. No, Notepad works fine. Pretty sure it did. That's fair. Something with UTF-8. That's fine. But if you don't do this, just like they said, if it already exists, doesn't matter. Watch what happens for the open mode. So it's read text file. See? It's translating it into multibyte, just straight out multibyte, thinking that these are code page at 12:32 or whatever, the ANSI code page. Well, we have the ability to deal with Unicode characters, so we can specify Unicode. We want the we want to be receiving no translation that will convert, but don't translate into ANSI, and then that works. I'm not sure if what happens. Certainly, you wouldn't see those boxes if we compiled this under multi-byte. All right, so that's the font and that's opening. I've been using the keyboard on purpose because the thing that I'm working on right now, I want to show you slowly what I've done. Just delete this, all the registry keys. So it's back to a fresh new thing. Now, one of the first things I wanted to do, besides fixing up that first, the open file dialog in the font, right, was to try and figure out what's this most recently used file list thing. We have special numbers reserved, 16 numbers reserved that to put, recent file entry in. But it's up to you how you want to implement that. It's just those are the numbers that everybody else uses. Okay. And it took me forever to figure out what you're supposed to do. Forever. Hours and hours, and I was getting really frustrated because I'm searching for things like how to modify a menu item, right? And then they tell you, okay, now you go to the resource file. No, I don't want to go to the resource file. And then I thought, oh, I know. I'll enter in something to do with this MRU list. And then, all the results came back. To do that, you go to your XML, such and so, and it's crazy. You've got to see some of the search results. So stupid. Like I had things like how to programmatically alter a submenu from resource menu. Okay, let's see, MSDN. Menu bars. Okay, templates, no, but see, I've already done that. I'm going to make it. Okay, how about using menu? Owner drawn, no, I don't want to do that. Template format, I don't need a template, I just want to change the text, add an item. Creating a bitmap, no, I don't need that. Creating a class menu, loading a template resource, old menu template format, menu reference, right? And look at this stuff. Okay, no, this actually looks like code. Functions. Now I have a whole bunch of functions, right? In fact, I wrote all these functions, made a class. I already had a class, but I extended it. And I made a class for the editor too. So I have all these things, but it wasn't working. I get the handle for the menu, and I'd try to add something and nothing would work. So none of this was of any use. What else is there? What else did I search for? Just go through my history. Because it's really frustrating when you're trying to just do a simple thing and you can't get a simple answer. Yeah. This is Microsoft. How to change the text of a menu command. Look at this. Okay, that's very simple. Change the menu command label by using the iMenu command service. Create a VS package named menu text. Blah blah blah. Okay, now go into your menu command here. Shown icon GUID identifier is BMP pick 1. Okay, Ray. Sure. All right. Let's try something else. It's insane. How to now it's telling me how to create them, but the system created them. Common tasks. You know, there's nothing in here. Change the text, that's the one I just showed you. Change the appearance of the command. And again, it's var this or something. Enable my command. I don't know, what is this? C#. I even had C++ in my search. Well, the answer is so stupidly simple that nobody even bothers to tell you. One person did, and that's where it all stopped. I tried searching for things to do with MRU because maybe that might give me a hint. You know, how does MFC do it? And then here's the example. Create a recent file list object and add and remove indices from it. I'm trying to build one, not, you know, what else do I go through? Implementing a recent file list. Useless. How to add it? Let's search. Somehow I ended up there. Where did it stop? It didn't stop at, oh, maybe it did. No, that one was useless too. I don't know how to get into something you've already started clicking. I gave up for a while. Or no, maybe it did. Maybe it did tell. Wait a sec. This is someone who's actually tracking the pop-up menu and doing everything manually. But somebody said something, and it was just a single line. And as soon as I saw the line, I knew what to do. It was just like one word needed to be uttered, and then I understood exactly what to do. Now where was that? Because I want the recent file list. Yeah. Maybe I saw it in just in one of these blurbs. Okay, what was the next one I clicked on? Because it was just one word. Well, two words, I guess. And with those 2 words, I had all the answers. I'll know if I see it. Anyway, the words were the words were the system lets you know when a menu is just about to be displayed, and it gives you the handle to that menu in case you want to make alterations to it before it gets displayed. And that's all there is to it. And it's I've been tracing it out too. I'd seen that message. I should have checked the help just on that message, but I didn't think it was that important. But it's the key to everything. Because it's at exactly the time when you need it. Okay. Here, I'm going to click this. You see? Init pop-up menu. Now you get 2 of them. I think. Alright. Init pop-up. Oh, init menu pop-up. Init menu pop-up. That's not the one. It can't be. It must be something else. Uninit. Well, that seems like it. It's supposed to have. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. L-param either has a 1. Because I was looking at this one. Okay. So. I'm not getting 2 now, maybe just a recorder or something. You get 1 when there's one in the pop-up thing you get for this menu. This is the same as one of these things, right? And these here are sub-menus of that menu. This is drawn in a funny way, right? So then all that happens is you're told that this is about to be drawn, right? Now I go through and I assume that I have a recent file list already, and if I do, I add them to the menu. And then if I open another file, then I add another one, and then I configured it so that it's all in the registry. It could. Whoops, not that. It could, if you wanted. I could have an options dialog. I've set this to 5, and 5 is not a very big number, I realize. But one thing I want to avoid is one should at least be aware of what happens when you get too many. Okay, it's not too bad now. You see, I can't get at the other menu items anymore. This is stuck, and sometimes it goes right up to the top here. And I gotta click away, and I can't go through the menus. I get stuck. So he's got too many. It'll add another one, I'm sure. It's got 12 there now. I don't know why I was there. Well, that seems to be its limit. Anyway, it's too big. And some other thing that goes too big. Oh yeah, one of these ones, I think. Yeah, sub-menu or something. One should always be on the lookout for the amount of space you're using in the vertical direction, because there's a limit to how much you can put vertically, right? If you could take your recent file list and have a more thing and then another more, then you could have it, you can chain down. That would be okay. But this is 768 pixels. It's not very much. So I set it initially to 5, but you can go up to the maximum of 16 if you wanted. Don't want. And this is where they go if I open a file. Now it's just like I said, use a lot of time. All out in the open right now. I haven't turned these into functions. They should be, all this should be tucked away. So it's all out in the open. So here's my, well, first off, I won't mention that just yet, but I made a class for the edit part too. So it should be able to do copy, paste, and all that. That's easy. This is when I get that message, okay? Now I get a handle to a menu. So what I did was I already had a menu, TS menu, and it's in the wrong place. It's in this controls.h, but a menu is not really a control. In fact, it's completely not a control, and it shouldn't even be here at all. This is a pop-up menu, right? As opposed, this was meant to stand for a pop-up menu, create pop-up, right? And MFC has something similar, but a menu on itself, an H menu is not a window handle. There are no extra windows, right? It's more like a string resource or something. It's not a control. In fact, it's a controls identifier is put in the place where the menu handle would normally be stored for a window. So it definitely cannot be a control because it couldn't have an identifier. Anyway, this thing, when it dies, it destroys the menu. Well, I don't want that to happen. So I took out all of the manipulation stuff that I want to use, and this thing just takes an H menu and runs these functions for it. In particular, get a string, and then add string or remove string and so on. And so that allows me now on an init pop-up menu to go through my recent file list. Now, so what I decided to use was a list of strings declared my class. Here it is. So here's my recent file list of files. At construction time, see, like this should be a function, initialize MRU or something, right? But it's all here, sitting there. Now this is the maximum. If max entries and it's bigger than the biggest maximum we can have, and I've set it at the, that'll be 16. It will be set to 16. Then I do get string list with this for this value. Now the string list could also have too many entries, right? So if it's more than the maximum 15, well, the maximum as specified here, then I go through a for loop and just that's right. I think pop head. I may have this backwards. So this is adding to the tail. So the first thing on the tail. Oh no, that is correct. Those would be in the same order because the head, yeah. The first element of this list will be the first thing added to this list, and the second thing added to this list will be the second thing in this list. So they'll be in the same order, and I do that this many times. Otherwise, I just set the list I got from the registry equal to my recent file list. Assuming I have one, back to init pop-up menu. So I'm assuming on entry here that this is correct, but the menu, you see, if you add things to those menus, it's still running, isn't it? If you add something to one of these menus, I'll do that. I'll open a file. That's why I closed everything. Okay. Now there's a thing in the recent file list. Now it's still there, right? So I don't want to. The next time I get an pop-up menu, which is the time when I was supposed to make my changes, I don't want to add it again. On the other hand, things might have changed, right? I might have had 5 things in there. Added 5 things into the menu so far, but the member thing, this where is it down here? This could have been altered. In fact, every time I open a file, I add something to the head of this list, right? That's the last thing that was open, unless the list already contains it. So I'll just go through this quickly. So what I do, I'll clean all this up, but I'm not going to assume that everything is in the correct order or anything. I go from 0 to 16. Check every one to see if there's an entry there. And so I had to invent these functions. There's a string with this that corresponds to this command. If there isn't one, I continue. If there is one, then I get that string. I think this is going to be true because of that, but whatever. And then I'm adding that to it. The order doesn't matter. Well, maybe it does. I'm adding that to a temporary list I'm creating from the menu as it currently stands. Now, if that list is equal to my list, is it going to be in the right order though? Well, it might be I might have to do this backwards, but I'm reading top down. First thing No, it should be the same order, just as before. Plus equals adds, the first thing goes to the head and the second thing to the second spot and so on. If those two lists are equal, then I don't need to add anything to the menu. That is, we have data duplication here. We have a list that we're updating when we open a file, but we can't update the menu at that time. I didn't know that. So I have to have a second list. We're forced in this case. If they're equal, don't do anything. Otherwise, I just go through the menu again and delete all of them. Okay. If there were any, they'll get deleted. Now I'm going to check what my limit is, which could have changed, right? Since the last someone might have clicked on options and changed it from 10 to 3, right? I get a new value. I got to take that into account. So I compute the maximum amount of entries we can have. And now, if the menu didn't contain any of those recent files in it, then it didn't have a separator because I haven't added one. So here I add one. From this point on, the list will be populated with something. We can never take anything out so far. If there were such a way, then I would have to figure out how to delete that separator. And now I'm just going through a for loop, assuming that this is the correct recent file list, adding as many as I'm allowed to add. That's the maximum I'm allowed to add to the menu. And then I don't know why I'm doing that here. I should have done that where I set this. So that's a bit of a mistake. Oh, I know. That is correct. Except that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do here, which is I'm supposed to only add this many items, but not the full list, because it might have changed. And so it probably doesn't matter if there are extra ones, it doesn't matter. Okay. And so then in file open, well, see, now I added some simplified functions for messages. There's a close file function. This is the one that would ask the user when they're opening a file, if the current file hasn't been saved yet, do they want to save? And if that returns false, then it won't open a new file. Also, if a file is read-only, then save is going to fail. So I got to take that into account. Now, how about loading the file? Last thing. I mean, it's just too much so already. All right, that's a whole hour. I'll just tell you that I'm using an fopen and just straight up fgetS, except the translated character return line feeds that turn into simple character returns. Character returns. I'm replacing those with character return line feed, which is what the edit control likes. And the edit control is also now, and I'll explain this next time, has been put into a little class, which I copied from MFC as usual, and has all these functions. Here are some ones that we might find useful. It might be a good idea to maybe our onCopy handler might just do medit.copy. I think that's all there is to that handling. So much of these handlers are already coded. Paste and everything should work. You can set read only. You can go to a certain line. You can scroll up and down. You can get the handle to its data buffer and set it. So, for instance, you could do some manipulation on your own, and then just instead of having to copy all of the data back into the edit control, you can just set its handle to some new thing, and that'll be very quick. Okay, so that's where I am. It does have a recent file list. Let's see. I haven't tried opening too. Oh, actually, let me try something. I'm curious. I have a special batch file too. Anchor. K. Okay. So now there's a K drive, which corresponds to this. Now it's supposed to. It should. When I select and open a file on the K drive, it should put into the list. Yeah, I figured it out. Okay. It resolves that K into what it really was. That's something that I want. Because it's no use. This is a substituted drive. It's not going to be K tomorrow, right? Or even 10 minutes from now. I can turn K off. Like that. There's no more K. See, it's gone. But this is not invalid. Okay, see you next time.